and I see my physical body in the road, and I'm thinking, I know that I just died, that I died. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is really going to ruin the day for my friends, because we had such an amazing day. We had a great day. We had so much fun. And here, and I'm thinking, and here I go and die on them.
Hello and welcome to How I Made It Through. This is episode 1 of season 4, where we are doing a very deep dive into NDEs, near-death experiences. And I'm so thrilled that our first guest is Sharon Sananda Kumara. Now, Sharon remembered her unique gifts and abilities after her second, not just one, but two, her second near-death experience in 2001. She has a successful practice as a psychic medium, channel, spiritual counselor, and hypnotherapist specializing in past life therapy and contactee memory recovery. Sharon is the founder of the Kumara Academy of Transformation, facilitating various metaphysical classes and offerings. Welcome, Sharon.
Well, thank you, Kristin. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
I was really looking forward to this. So I've heard your story on the Next Level, this Next Soul Level podcast
Next
with
Level
Alex.
Soul. Yes.
Next Level Soul. Okay, thank you. Next Level Soul with Alex. And it is, wow, extraordinary. Before we dive into I'd love to dive into your second near-death experience, because that was so vivid. And it sounds like the one that was so transformational. You shared that you were a quiet child, a traumatized child, which I can connect to. Can you share a little bit about your childhood and who you were and are before we dive in?
Of course. I actually didn't remember a lot of my childhood before my NDE in 2001. There was a lot of blank spaces, which seemed to be most of it. My parents divorced when I was 6. My sister and I, it was just the two of us, and she's a year and a half younger, so we're very close. And we went to live with my grandparents around when I was 9, 8, I believe, 8, around 8, somewhere around there. And that's where a lot of things happened for me. That's where the first NDE happened, which I remember later. But there was so many blank spaces. I didn't remember much at all, to be honest with you. Little bits and pieces, but nothing like what I remembered after my NDA. I knew that there was something there that was causing me not to remember my childhood. Mm-hmm. And it even the rabbit hole gets deeper every day with me, with that part of my life. And because I work diligently with my guidance to help uncover anything I can. And so, yeah, I didn't remember a lot. We were raised Catholic.
Okay.
With my grandmother. My parents were not good Catholics, and they were actually excommunicated because of the divorce. But my grandmother was a staunch Catholic, and I used to fight her to go to church. We went to church every day except Saturday, and I felt bad. Now that I remembered was running from her, because she's like, "We have to go to church," and I'm like, "No, you have to catch me."
Well, did you have any, so I hear the resistance to organized religion and going to church, but did you have, and this question may not be fair given that you just said that you don't remember much and the rabbit hole is something you go down as you're retrieving those memories. But is that your dog?
That was my dog.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were, okay. It's usually my dog, so I just want to check in. So were you a spiritual child? Because I know you've always had some abilities.
I did have psychic abilities. I do remember. Yes, that is true. And I do remember, and that's basically pretty much all of my childhood I remember, were those things that I was afraid of and didn't talk about. Because when I did talk about it, it scared I mostly talked to my mother and my grandmother because my dad wasn't around much. And and so I remember seeing dead people. I saw my grandfather when he died in the house, and so that scared me. I saw him a couple nights later floating outside the house, looking in the window. At least that's how I
Oh,
perceived it. And yeah, I woke up and there
yeah.
I'm in bed and I'm wide awake, and there he is. And I also have thoughts or dreams, even, and visions of future events. And so I guess I figured it was normal, but since I was such a
Sure.
traumatized child, I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't have friends in school. I was bullied in school. I was overweight most of my life as a child and as a young child. And so, yeah, I wouldn't say it were my best years, but that's okay. Yeah, there's
No,
photographs of me as a
yeah.
child, and I look really angry.
Mm,
Oh, well,
it
thank
sounds like
you.
you had
But
reason to
that's
be.
yeah, that's all right.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was part of the deal.
Sure,
I
sure.
realize that now.
Well, we do realize that later, but at the
Mm,
time, it doesn't take away the anguish. It's
yeah,
so hard to move through things like that. So, because your NDE is as spectacular and intriguing as it is, if you would, will you set the stage and just tell your story?
sure, sure. The one in 2001 was I was living in San Antonio, Texas. I lived there 25 years. I loved San Antonio, and my girlfriends and I went tubing down the river, the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas. If anyone's there to recognize, I'm sure will recognize that area. And we had a really good day. There was 5 of us for a girlfriend's birthday, and we went at the end of the day. We stood in line to get on the shuttle bus that takes us to back to our cars. We rented the inner tubes, and they take us to one part of the river and then pick us up. And we float down the river, and they pick us up and bring us back to the shuttle parking lot so we can get our cars and load up. And so we waited for the bus to pick us up, and it was one of those little school buses that doesn't carry a lot of people, 15 I think max. And it was an old bus, and so I'm the first one in line with my friends, and I start to get on the bus when it pulls up and opens the doors, and I see that the bus is full, and something tells me, I'm like, well, I can't get on this bus; it's full. But the people in the bus are saying, come on, you can stand in the aisleway. And I still feel like I still turn around, but people are behind me and they're saying, get on, get on. So I do. Okay. And I'm back. My back is up against, not against it, but I'm the one that's the first one in front of the exit door, the emergency exit door. Okay. And as he's driving down the road, it's a stick shift. So as he's driving down the road, we're being jerked back and forth. And at one point, he's leaving a street light, and I think his second or third gear, between second and third, he jerks really bad, and I am knocked up against the back door, the exit door, emergency exit door, and I fall out of the bus. I remember thinking, I can't believe I'm falling out of this bus, and I land on the trailer hitch on my back, and I bounce off of that onto the pavement, and it was probably 105 degrees out, somewhere around there. And I bounced onto the pavement. Then I bounce onto my side, and I'm underneath the trailer because he is pulling a trailer. It has our ice chests and our inner tubes in it. There was probably, oh, 20 people on the bus, maybe, or more because we packed on. So, more than 20, more than the capacity. And so the trailer was carrying all their things and all our things. So at one point when I'm on the pavement on my side, I pick up my hands to protect my head. And I even say in my mind, I yell out in my mind as loud as I can, stop, you're killing me. And as soon as I said that, the tire of the trailer ran over my neck and my head. Yeah. And that's when I popped out of my body, and I'm looking down, and I'm out of my body, and I'm looking down, and I see my physical body in the road, and I'm thinking, I know that I just died, that I died. And and these thoughts, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is really going to ruin the day for my friends, because we had such an amazing day. We had a great day. We had so much fun. And and I'm thinking, and here I go and die on them. That's what I was thinking. Here I go and ruin the day by dying on them. But I know, right? Because I was thinking that she's not going to enjoy her birthday anymore, that kind of thing. Yeah, yeah. And I didn't have any attachment to my body. I was just looking at it from, a non-attachment perspective. And as I'm looking, I see a traffic. The bus is still going. He's still driving. He didn't know that I had fallen out yet as I'm watching. And I see the traffic coming, and I'm laying in the road, and I see a big bus, one of those commuter buses, uh, driving up toward my body. And I think, oh, I hope that bus doesn't run over my body, because that would make a mess. Not that it would hurt, or that, I would feel the pain or anything, or kill me or whatever, because I knew I was dead. So I'd done it before many times. We've died many times before. And
Yes.
it was that it would make a mess. I was thinking that would make a big mess.
That is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But you still thought of it
And
as my body, not the body. It was still your body.
it was, well, no, I didn't feel an attachment. I wouldn't say my body as much as a body, the body I
A body.
use. Like you're looking at a car, that type of thing. It's your
Yeah.
car because it was your vehicle, but I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I didn't feel that. I wasn't thinking
Identifying.
it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I
So are
saw
people
it.
just yeah. I was going to say, are people just screaming their heads off to the bus driver? Like a lady just fell out and is on the road? Did they not
My
notice?
friends told me that I didn't have the awareness of what was going on in the bus. I was just
Mm-hmm.
looking at my body in that scene right there. But my friends did tell me that they screamed at him when he and it took him a minute to, or however long it took for him to stop. Yeah,
Yeah.
he stopped maybe if I remember correctly, a block or two up the road. Yeah. And he actually went around the block and came back.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you're popped out of your body, so continue.
Okay. So these thoughts are going through my head, and I'm taken to the my boyfriend at the time, and how it's going to affect him. And I see him sitting there, and he's holding his head in his hands, hearing the news type of thing. And he's upset. And I think, well, and I get the impression, and I think he's going to be fine, though. He'll be fine. Okay. Then I think about my sister and her family, and she has a family. And so we're really close. And I think, well, that'll be, it'll be hard for her, but I see her family surrounding her, supporting her. And I know that would happen. So I'm seeing, I guess you could say, that timeline. And then I think about my mom, who lived down the road from me and who I sort of took care of. And when I think about my mom, I feel a presence behind me and to the right. And I turn around, and it's my stepfather, who had died in '98, who I was really close to. And that's kind of when things started for me in '98. When he died, is
Mm.
really when things started opening up for me. And so he's there, and I turn, and I'm really happy to see him because I missed him. And he says to me, "It's not your time." And I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean? I'm here." And he says, "It's not your time." He keeps telling me that, and I get the impression also from him that, and this is a conversation that I had later with my guides, and that there's things I still need to do that my mom still needs me to. Okay. Which she passed a year and a half later. But so he's communicating that to me. And as he's communicating that to me, and I'm arguing a little bit, I see another portal open up, or I feel the presence. I notice a portal open up again to my right, and I turn, and it's a tunnel opening up. And I notice that my ancestors are there. Okay. That projecting themselves, I guess, I don't know, but I noticed them. I noticed my my grandparents and my ancestors from this life are within that tunnel, and I also noticed ancestors from lifetimes that I wouldn't have, I wouldn't recognize them here, but I know that they are my ancestors. They're part of my soul group, and so I see them, but I notice that they're not really welcoming me home, and I'm like, okay, something's up. All right. So I'm starting to feel like, all right, my dad says it's not my time. They're kind of got this look on their face like it's not my time. And then as I'm contemplating that and I'm drawn to it, I see another portal open up in the distance beyond that portal. And it looks like the sun. This portal is golden white, and it's really bright. It looks like I'm looking at the sun, but it doesn't hurt my eyes. And I'm not even thinking about this tunnel. I'm drawn to that portal, that sun. And as I notice it, I see a figure walk out of that sun at that portal. And I notice he's male and he's wearing a white robe. And I recognize him pretty much immediately as Jesus, who I call Yeshua, and he's moving toward me. And as soon as I recognize him, I fly to him. I just fly, and we embrace. Because I knew at that point that I missed him really, really badly, even though I was not a good Catholic. But that doesn't make any difference because I knew him in a different way. Yeah. So he's there and he's embracing me and smiling, huge, amazing smile with his eyes, with his face, with everything, with his whole being, smiling at me. Whew. And he tells me it's not your time. And I'm arguing with him too. I'm saying, but I want to stay with you. I want to be here. I felt I didn't know that I still had we don't know until we're shown or told, right, that we still have things we need to do. So I felt like I'm like, but I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And he said, no, you have lots still left to do. And he also told me I didn't have time to, and this wasn't in words, this was in impressions and intuition and that kind of thing. And telepathically. Telepathy. He said I didn't have time to reincarnate and start over.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Sharon, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What does Jesus look like?
To me, okay, so I believe that he shows himself to everyone how they can recognize him. Yeah. To me, he looked Mediterranean, but he was light skinned. Okay. He had hair about down to here, the long hair, beard, gorgeous. Now I know why I've always been attracted to men that look like him.
So you're going to say gorgeous, 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 or are you going to say eyes?
Eyes. Yes. Everything about him is gorgeous, but his eyes just hold all the love of the universe, all the love you can imagine. All of it. Yeah. The light and love of the universe. Yeah.
What color are his eyes?
To me, they were blue. Yeah. They looked blue to me. And I believe also my eyes are blue. So I believe that sometimes they reflect our light and our likeness. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understood later, and as I work with them, but they appeared blue to me, and they appeared uh, beautiful, deep blue. Yeah, beautiful blue.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that I took with me that I remembered the most were his eyes, of course, his smile, well, all of it, but also his laugh. Because when I told him I didn't want to leave and come back, he laughed, he chuckled and laughed with me, uh, and that was like music to my ears just to hear him. It was music to my ears just to hear his laughter. Yeah.
Just keep
So.
getting chills. That's so good. So continue. I just felt like that was worthy of pause, but continue, please.
Oh yes, yes, of course. Feel free to interrupt me at any time. So he's we are communicating in that way. At some point, while I'm in his arms, we start to merge. I feel that I'm being submerged in light, in his light. And it's so hard to describe, but I am filled with so much, even more joy, if you can imagine, than being just embraced by him in a physical manner, but filled with with light, the light of God's light, the light of the universe, whatever, however you want to call it, as much as I could handle. And even though I'm not in the physical body, I know that I could probably only handle so much of it, right? Because I still have my consciousness with me that from that life. And I believe that as we were merging, and I felt that immense love and support, and I knew that everything that I could have and would have done in my lifetime would not get in the way of his love for me ever, ever, ever.
Mm.
Any thoughts, any worries, anything like that, would none of that, all of that went away.
Mm.
And I believe that that's what healed me. Okay. When I did go back, that
Okay.
there was the beginning of it, I'm sure, but I'm being in that space. That's how he healed my body. So at some point, I could have been there for an eternity. I don't know. Probably still. We still are, aren't we? And
Yeah. Well, part of
yeah,
us,
we are.
right? We only bring a
Mhm,
part of us
definitely.
to Earth School. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. At some point, he when we come out of the merging, he asked me if I would like to go on a journey with him, and I said yes, of course.
You lucky
So we
dog.
we all have access, and so he puts his hand out, and I take his hand, and I describe this a lot as it, when I took his hand, it was so intense, the way his hand felt. I I say that here in this physical realm, we're with our senses. Our senses are like wearing gloves over our senses here compared to there, like wearing a big
Mm.
glove, because it's just not intense like it is. And I could feel every line in his hand and every crevice. And um, you know, I people have asked me about that. Well, why would Jesus have lines in his hand? Well, he was showing himself to me in that manner, and maybe it's mirroring my hand. I don't know. I just know it was intense, and I my intuition was, and what I got from him was, it was his hand, and I was feeling every crevice and line in it. It was super intense. Everything was so intense. Every little thing. So he takes my hand, and as soon as he does, and all this is happening pretty much at the same time, we're flying through the cosmos, or the cosmos is moving through us. Who knows, right? Right? Yeah. And I see what I assume are stars and planets just flying by. And then I see a brighter light off in the distance, and I feel focused on that. And he's intuiting to me to focus on it. So I do. And and as we move toward it, it's this blue light, blue. And it's a portal, and we move through the portal. And then when we come out of the portal, I see a planet that's this beautiful turquoise blue.
Kind of like what you're wearing?
Yeah, yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, this is Yeshua in Hebrew, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and so we move down toward that planet, and I recognize the planet as a water world. I can see it's a water world, and I recognize the planet as somewhere I've been, and it feels very familiar. And as we're hovering above the planet, he's working with me and helping me understand this from moving beyond my Sharon perspective. Okay. And opening up my awareness to these memories. And as we're hovering above the planet, he helps me connect with the soul of the planet herself. And I felt female, or that type of energy. And the mother. And so I connected with the mother soul of that planet, and the planet is her body. And as I'm connecting with her, I'm in her awareness as much as I can, and I have so much love and feel so much care for every single being, sent any life on the planet, which the whole planet is alive, of course. But I have so much love and care so much for every single thing on the planet, on my body as the planet, which is, she considered everything on her body is her. And so I have so much love for everything. And also he helped me realize that I can move, which I did, move my consciousness from the whole, which is her, to down to any focus in on any being on the planet, whether it be a aquatic being, which is what I found, but human-like being, or an amoeba, anything. I can move my consciousness in and out that way and have that experience through the eyes of that being. So as I was finished with that teaching, he moves me. Yeah.
Well, wait, I want to pause there.
Okay.
So, the story I tell myself when you share your story about this planet is that you have had a life or lives there. It was like home for you in a different incarnation. And did you visit family, or like, say a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more, because it's
Yes.
just extraordinary.
Yes. As and I do feel like that is home. And he did tell me after we went down there, because we moved down toward the planet, and that's when he was communicating with me that I do have a family here, I do have a life here, and I don't see it as an incarnation, but rather another reality, whether it be parallel or in a higher dimension, another dimension is what it is. What
Okay.
I understand. And so a more finer, subtle dimension, but we're still very physical in that dimension. Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
see what the physical beings looked like as these aquatic beings are swimming? I'm going to use the word swimming because I don't know any other word to use.
Yes.
Could you
Yeah.
see what they look like and what
I
you looked
did. I
like?
saw my family, and I also saw dolphin and dolphin beings as well were there. And it's
Uh-huh.
so I saw my family as we go into we move into the ocean area, and it has land under the water because there's a cave that I was taken to, um, and then I was reunited with my mate, and because I have a mate there, and we lived for a very long time in those bodies, what I understood, and so I'm getting all these intuits as I'm there, and all these memories, and I have children, and I'm reunited with my children. So my consciousness is brought into that part of me that's there.
Wow.
It's already there. And they knew that they knew that I was there to see this life from my earth life perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm-hmm.
were so happy. When I want to cry, they were so happy to see me as that part of myself, being aware of that part of myself.
Yeah, part of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you look like and what did they look like?
We were human looking, human.
Okay.
We did have the uh, I mean, it's not a lot different than what we call merbeings, okay, or a mermaid, that kind of thing. So yeah,
Okay.
not a lot different. Everyone had a different color of their lower body with their, what you would call their scales in that. I saw myself as bright green, and my mate was more of a dark cobalt blue, and yeah, and we're gorgeous and very, very, very fit. I will say that. I mean, I can't believe how strong I am. Oh my gosh, look at this. So,
Be
but
amazing.
yeah, and our skin was different, just like we are here, different colors and different uh, yeah, different colors. The colors there are very different than here. So they're hard to describe, but we had different skin colors like we do here. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Different features like we do here. We My skin was if I remember, it was almost like a ivory color.
Okay.
Ivory is it was very light colored, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I have dark hair, and we have hair too. Some of us, not all of us. I did see more reptile aquatics as well type. Okay, um, and I've seen myself in that body too, in different experiences in my out of body travels, which is a whole different story, but lots of stories there.
You have
So
lots of stories. We need like 5 hours.
definitely, yeah,
Buckle up.
yeah,
So, okay, I want you to move on,
okay,
but before you do, because you've had these experiences that are so, I'll just call them heart centered, love centered with this family that you are reunited with, and you're saying it's bringing you tears.
yeah.
In this life on earth, were you drawn to water? Has that always been something that has been part of your, like, I don't know why, I've just always loved the water. Some people have that.
Oh yes, I live on the water now. Yeah, I'm always drawn to the ocean, always drawn to water. I live on a river, but always wanted to be in the water, swim.
Mm.
Always wanted to swim. I actually collected mermaids and dolphins most of my life. Yeah, my house
Yes.
was full of them.
Well,
Mhm.
that's why I was curious. So that is to me such validation,
Yeah,
that part of you is still
right. Still
activated,
active.
alive.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah. Okay, so continue. So you have this little tour and reunion, so to speak.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then, okay, let me put this in linear time how I understand it. Now, I don't I don't know how long my awareness was there in the aquatic world. Okay, now he did Yeshua when we came back together above or away from the planet when we were communicating. Uh, he did tell me that I can go there anytime in my meditations or in my mind. I can travel there anytime. Yeah. Because he knew that that would be really emotional for me. And I did travel there quite a bit after I came back in my
Good.
meditations. And it got so intensely emotional for me. And I didn't want to come back. They'd have to keep pulling me back to my body. So
Mm,
I stopped doing it as much.
yeah.
I would even start making sounds like a siren sound, just all of a sudden out of nowhere. Just these sounds would come out of me when I get so deep in meditation. But I told him, I remember this very clearly. I told him, all right, I'll go back. I'll make a deal with you. I I want to be conscious and aware of your presence in my life with me, that you walk with me, that you're right there next to me throughout my life, through my life. And and then I know, because I know he's there anyway, and I know that. So that was the deal. He said deal. And then it happened. I didn't remember any of it right away, but then I'm
So
back
then
in my body.
okay, so you go back into your body, which I'm
Yes.
sure is a rude awakening, especially after where you've been.
Mm-hmm.
How painful was that?
Well, I didn't remember it. I didn't remember what just happened, but but I was in panic
Oh,
mode. Okay. So I
you
jumped
were
up
in panic
and
mode?
I was in panic mode. So I jumped up, I was running around,
You jumped up and ran around after you
I
just
jumped up.
fell. Oh my gosh.
I saw the bus coming toward me from the ground. Yeah.
So you got adrenaline just coursing through you.
Yeah. And I jump up, I run to the side, I'm running back and forth. My friends at that point are jump off the bus. They're coming to help me, and an ambulance is called. And I'm taken to the hospital. They put me on one of those spine boards, and they X-ray me. My hair's falling out because of the tire tracks. They teased me at the hospital that had tire tracks across my head. But when they saw that I didn't have a concussion, nothing was broken. I still have back issues and neck issues and things like that, and nerve damage, but that I have to maintain and work through. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was quite the miracle.
Well, the miracle, referring back to what you said, that he had healed you.
Yes.
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 I totally believe that.
So how long did it take you to remember your NDE after
It took
you recovered?
it came in increments. I
Okay.
was already traveling out of my body about that time when my stepfather passed in 98. I started having sleep paralysis episodes.
Oh, I've got those so many times.
Yeah, they can be
Yeah.
scary if you don't know what it is.
Right.
But yeah, and I thought I was dying. I didn't understand it. And because I was green at that point, I was asleep. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I just knew I missed my
Yeah.
dad. Right.
Mm.
Yeah. And so I started having sleep paralysis, having these scary things going on. And then I came across something on on a website. This is in 98, mind you,
Yeah.
around 99, because he died in September around there. And something about out of body experiences and sleep paralysis, which I didn't even know what it was called, and the correlation between the two, that you can have an out of body experience as long as you control the sleep paralysis state, and what it was actually. And that it's a good way, out of body experiences are a good way to find your loved ones.
That
So
have
I
departed
started,
to the across the veil.
yes, they're departed on the
Mm-hmm.
other side and more, right? So I started reading everything I could get my hands on out of body
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and became adept at it. And 20 years later, I've journaled over probably 3,000 conscious out of body experiences. But I'm a big reader. So when my dad died, my sister gave me the book, We Don't Die by George Anderson. And I started
Okay.
delving into something that made sense to me, because
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that my stepfather didn't still exist in some way, because I actually saw him after he died.
You
he
saw him after he died.
I
Okay, I'm
saw
just
him after
grabbing a
he
pen to write
died.
down. Okay, we
Yeah,
don't
sure.
die. You saw him after he died. Okay, so you saw him after he died. Did he have a message for you?
Well, what happened was he died the day before, that night, the day before, and I'm laying on the sofa at my mom's house, mom and dad's place, and just resting, and I see my dad walking out of the bedroom toward me, and I knew he had passed, and I'm confused. I'm thinking, Dad. I even say, Dad, what do you, what? Wait a
He's
minute.
so confusing. Yeah.
And he's not seeing me. He's not looking at me. He's looking past me. And and I hear him say, how the heck do I get out of here?
Oh my goodness. So he's kind of getting his sea legs, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes. And
Wow.
he walks past me, almost through me, walks that way, and he's looking past me. And he walks that way, and I'm pretty sure he saw the tunnel because he's walking that way, and then
Okay.
I don't see him. Yeah. So
Okay.
that was pretty crazy.
Okay. So many questions. So first of all, you and I know what sleep paralysis is because we've
Yes.
experienced it. Can you just
Yes.
take a moment to explain what it is, please?
Sure. What I understand is there's a mechanism in the body, uh, physiological mechanism that puts our body in a paralysis state when we're in the dream time, in the REM sleep or in that dream time, so we don't act out our dreams.
Right.
Yeah. And when we wake up during that sleep paralysis state, we we can't move, we can't talk. I we try to scream out. We can't. You're paralyzed basically, and it can feel
Yeah.
like there's someone in the room with you. It can feel like someone's pressing on your chest. I thought somebody was sitting on the bed, and what I understand is what when we wake up in that state, our consciousness or astral body, whatever you want to call it, has already left the physical senses of our physical body, already left, or is already coming back in. So we don't understand and of course the lower mind will automatically go towards scary things. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it feels like a pressure, and but it's the perfect state that you can use and utilize to consciously attain the out of body state.
Like the astral travel.
Astral travel, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that a couple of times. Nowhere
Nice.
near as many times as you.
Well, I'm
Um,
obsessed, but I did find my dad.
you did find your
I
dad.
did
You
find my
did
dad.
find your dad.
Hmm.
Okay. So why do you think, because some people clinically die and they don't remember what happened, and you did it twice. And I'm about to ask you about your first, which wasn't quite as vivid and you
Hmm.
didn't remember quite as quickly. Why do you think you, Sharon, in this earthly incarnation, were able to remember? And how does that connect if you connect to this with a soul blueprint or contract? What are you here to do and how is this
Yeah.
connected?
Um, I think I don't know the esoteric answer to that question. Why my soul? Why, except for the fact that I'm very stubborn and I'm very determined.
Okay.
I'm a
Okay.
determined soul, I'll tell you that. But I believe the head injury I had um, may have contributed to my remembering things, because I've heard of a lot of
Mm.
people that have had head injuries, and you may have noticed this in your interviews and in your research and things that seems like when people have head injuries, something opens up for them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I am very dedicated. I was very dedicated and still am with working with Yeshua every day once I started remembering my experiences and my experience with him. I was very dedicated. So I sat in meditation every single day for at least an hour with him. And he opened up things with me and helped me remember. And I believe I did have a life review. I just didn't remember it until he started showing it to me in the aftermath, because um, I've recorded all that, and so I'm compiling all that now, and it makes so much sense now. You know how if you journal, things are just kind of random until you start putting the pieces together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I believe that my soul made that choice to remember everything, and that's why he said you don't have time to reincarnate and come back and start over, because I had made that choice to clear my slate, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know I just said I'm going to ask you about the first NDE, but you just said a couple of things that I want to dive
Sure.
into. And so you're in communication with Yeshua,
Yes.
and he's teaching you things that I'm sure a lot of humanity can benefit from hearing. What are some of the things that he is teaching you that you would like to share?
Oh gosh. Well, the first thing that he taught me is that we are love. That was my mantra. He gave me that mantra, I am love.
Mm.
Yeah. And um, uh, there was so much that he taught that was not, that was taken out of his, the texts of his teachings and all the books and everything like that were written about his teachings, that I believe it's coming back to us now. I believe that we are the second coming. And so he's helping us find the Christ within us. And it's all about finding the Christed part of us. It's not about him. It's about he can help us. He's the way, the path to finding the
Mm-hmm.
Christed part of us. If anyone wants, his, that connection with him, um,
Mm-hmm.
because he is very present. And so, um, he's taught me on a personal level to work through my fears. I had tons of fears. I could barely leave my house at times. I had panic and anxiety. And
Mm-hmm.
so he's taught me to work through that. 20 years ago, there's no way I could do anything like this. I couldn't talk about any of this stuff or even form a coherent sentence about it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cause it's like,
Yeah.
I don't understand it. This doesn't make any sense. What is going on? Um,
Yeah.
as the memory started coming through. I mean, it covered lots of things, all the way back to galactic wars, to Atlantis, to reptilians in my room, to working with all kinds of extraterrestrials. That's another rabbit hole, but it all came
Mm-hmm.
through, and I knew why. I couldn't remember it. That my higher self was very kind, and he was very kind. That I didn't remember it all at once, because that would
Mm-hmm.
I needed to heal my body first.
You need to heal your body. And so
Mhm.
reptilians in your room and Atlantis. So I'm going to go towards the more mundane because I think people can relate to this more. And I just said I've struggled with panic attacks and anxiety throughout my life. So it is suffering. What
Yeah.
did he teach you about anxiety or fear that might be beneficial for the rest of us?
What he taught me was to stay with it, which is hard, to
Yeah.
stay with it. Also, that he is there with me. He's there holding my hand to stay with it, get through it. And then when you're on the other side of it, it gets better and better.
Yeah.
There's many times when I was sitting in my bed going through panic and anxiety where I feel him just wrapping his arms around me, sitting behind me, wrapping his arms around me, telling me I'm right here. I'm right here.
Mm.
And I'm going through all the the dark memories, and
Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
he
Well,
taught me that, which was really, really saved my life. He saved my life. Um,
yeah. Yeah. Well, the title of my show, How I Made It Through, is about that,
there you
feeling our
go.
feelings, not running. Do you know why? This is a big question, and he may or may not have shared this with you. And everything I'm asking is a big question, but why do we have these feelings? What is the point? Is there any light you can shed on that?
What I understand is that when we have anxiety and panic, it's because there's something that we haven't dealt with, and it's coming to the surface, and we just don't understand it. We don't know how to deal with it. We want it because this emotional, I call it emotional baggage, from
Mhm.
traumas in other lives as well as our current life, which leads to our current life, has not been healed. And because we are good at
Mhm.
repressing in our society,
Yes, we
we
are.
don't deal with things, at the time. And so that's what he helped me realize was, all these memories are coming up, all, that need to be dealt with. And that's why he said, just sit with it, sit with it. It's not real. It's not, first of all, it's a memory. It's not real. Okay.
It's not
You're
real.
not there. You're not there.
Yeah.
You're just reliving,
Yeah.
because I was reliving basically in my mind. And
Right.
I could, had the smells, I had the feelings of it and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. These flashbacks and this post trauma. But even bigger. So I understand, sort of in a sentient human way, the lessons of healing our trauma. But why do our souls come to a planet where there is so much trauma? Is there anything that he has shared about that?
What I understand is that we chose, our souls chose, okay, and everyone's different, but the bulk of our our souls, people here, chose to experience what we have not experienced, which would be the other side of the spectrum. We come from the source, the higher frequency planes, where we experience love and light all the time. That's who we are, right? It's not
Mhm.
basically where we are, is who we are. And so we chose to drop down in frequency into the lower realms to experience an opposite, the
Yeah.
opposites of, because we are in a realm of duality, in a universe of duality. And so that was the challenge. And it seems that the more challenge we choose, the more soul growth we have normally, as long as we learn and forgive. It's all about forgiveness, right? And so and
Yeah.
move forward from that, and be able to work through it.
And then it's like those experiences, and ideally, those lessons and healings return to source, return
Yes,
to this, right? Am I understanding?
right. Since we are
And then our,
God expressing, we are
mm-hmm.
source expressing through our physical vehicles, our bodies. These are our communication devices, is what he calls it. And
I love that.
right, yeah,
Communication devices.
yeah. And
Uh-huh.
so the idea is to bring every experience there is to experience in this realm, on this planet, back to source, back into the, what I call the oversoul, or the higher part of us, and bring that in. And
Oversoul.
if we, yeah, and if we haven't brought that experience, if there's some part of that experience that is traumatized of our, you've heard of, I'm sure you know about fragmented parts of us, fragmented pieces of
Yes.
soul. So that
Yes.
part has not been brought into the whole, because it's fragmented. And that's the work he taught me how to do. And I had to do that on myself first, and then help others, because we used to know how to do this ourselves. So we just forgot.
Mm, you
And
just forgot.
yeah, so bringing those fragmented parts in the whole makes us more whole. Of course, it's like bringing pieces of the puzzle into our soul, and then we can move on to another experience.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the clock and I realize like an hour is almost gone by. It goes by so very, very quickly. I haven't even asked you about the first near death experience because I want to make sure you have such tremendous insight and experience and wisdom. And you
Oh.
say, I'm stubborn, and you are committed to learning and sharing and helping others heal. Can you share a little bit or a lot a bit about the work you do and how
Hmm.
people can connect with you?
Of course. Thank you, Kristin. Yes. Well, I do psychic mediumship work. Is how it started out. I ended up specializing in past life therapy, soul retrieval, I guess is what you would call it, healing the fragmented parts of us. Um, stepping off the karmic wheel, so to speak, and just
Mm,
clearing karmic programs, because I've learned that we all come in with karmic programs, and so
yeah.
clearing that to find our true self. My work is all about finding our true self and helping people realize their own gifts and abilities that they have brought onto the planet, and so that they can we can all clear the way with it,
Yeah.
peel away the layers, so that we can remember our true self, and what we are here to, what our gifts are, to be of service to humanity. And I love
Yeah.
what I do, and I also have an academy where I teach metaphysical courses as well. All kinds
So
of
amazing.
cool stuff.
Yeah, cool. Cool is an understatement. I'm going to ask you how people can get in touch with you, and then I have one final question. So share how people can find you.
Of course, yes. My website is Sharon Sananda, SANANDA.com. That's SharonSananda.com. Yeah.
Great. Great. And so, with all that you have learned, and when you look at where humanity is today, what do you wish more people understood?
That we're here to love each other. We're here to be tolerant of each other and love each other, and understand that we're all different in our personalities and in our likes and dislikes, but we're still the same underneath. We just want to be loved. We want to love others, and we want to find our way back home, and that's to the heart. Yeah, and so everything's going to be okay. Just try to be your true self as much as possible. Don't worry what people think about you, because in the end, I think when we look back at our lives, and I think I know, when we look back at our lives, our soul is going to say, okay, what positive way did I affect people on the planet? And it's about people, and who we are as a person. It can be just one little
Beautiful.
thing. Smile at people as you go through your day. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much. It's those little things. It's funny. I was at Safeway the day before Thanksgiving, and it was so crowded, and a woman was coming with her cart one way and I was coming the other way. And there was a guy who was stalking, not stalking, but stalking like cans. and and just instinctually there was this display case that was keeping her from walking towards me. So I just quickly moved it out of the way, and she goes, "Do you work here?" And I said, "No." She goes, "I really needed someone to be just nice to me today. Thank you." And it was not something I was like, I'm going to,
Yeah.
but it touched me so much because I think all of us just want a moment where someone sees us, even if it's in a minor struggle.
Yeah.
And it was just like a wake up, like, how hard was that? It wasn't hard at all.
No,
You
it
know?
wasn't. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that. It's those
Yeah.
little things that make all the difference.
It's teeny tiny little things, obviously big things as well. But Sharon, thank you so much. Remarkable. And I don't think we can be reminded enough that we are here to love and to be our authentic selves. So I appreciate you so much.
Oh, well, thank you, Kristin. It was an honor. And thank you for the work you do. Yeah, you're an angel on the planet.
Thank you.
How I Made It Through is produced and distributed by EIQ Media, LLC. Elevate your emotional IQ with podcasts and content focused on overcoming adversity, leadership, mental health, entrepreneurship, spiritually transformative experiences, and more.